So what kind of people do you attract from India? I mean, largely what is the profile of people who are taking e-residency in Estonia?
There are mostly what we see is that there are people that do some e-commerce, there are people that are having a software development company that they want to launch their services in European market, maybe even US.
Yeah.
But we also see companies or entrepreneurs who are doing who are active in regular economic activities. Let's say selling leather to
European
Paris
company.
or Milan or fashion houses, so they can still ship their goods to France, to Italy, but
So
they use Estonian company to really
So, I mean,
manage
why
the
would he
transactions.
not want to register, let's say, in Paris or Germany or some other European country and actually want to take e-residency and register their company in Estonia? What do you think could be more tangible, intangible benefits they enjoy?
I think there are many reasons. First of all, it is that, I'm not in a position to really criticize our European neighbors, but what happens to be the case very often is that there are so many layers of bureaucracy when you want to establish a company in some of the countries that we already mentioned. Maybe being e-resident, actually you can establish company in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So, well, yes, then you need to develop to find out who's going to represent the country, how do you deal with financial transactions, of course. But in principle, once you are a resident, you can very quickly move forward. And also maybe the very beauty of the program is that you become owner of the company over internet.
Yeah.
So you don't really need to go to the country to establish company.
Yes.
And what is even more important maybe is that you can actually run your country from wherever you wherever you are. I mean, as long as there is reliable internet. So you can have a company in Estonia/Europe
Right.
and run it from the comfort of your house in New Delhi, for example.
Okay.
So once you have company established, once you have worked out your financial transaction mechanism, so you're good to go. And also it comes back to bureaucracy also in terms of declaring your taxes.
Right.
So in Estonia, basically, you can only declare your taxes electronically.
Right.
For an ordinary citizen, it takes 3 minutes. Boom, done. For a company, it takes maybe a little longer.
Right.
But there are the tax authorities and customs authorities are working very actively together now to really develop solutions which would give also companies an opportunity to basically do the business as you go, basically the information is exchanged very quickly, and some data which normally companies need to present to tax authorities, it's already taken from public registers. So basically you're owner of the company, which gives you freedom and liberty. You don't need to think anymore about how you really deal with bureaucracy. You can focus on your business, you can focus on your objectives and run a beautiful company, run a beautiful business.
So FDI regulations also, I would say, less strict, less restrictive as compared to other countries. I mean, I'll give you an example. I mean, for example, one of the biggest startups of India, which was Flipkart, which sold itself to Walmart, is actually a company registered in Singapore, not in India. It was initially registered in India, but then they moved it to Singapore because there were a lot of policy changes that were happening in India around e-commerce. It was very restrictive for FDI in e-commerce. I mean, as compared to the rest of Europe, does it also give some kind of restriction, policy relaxations to companies or businesses that are registering themselves or taking e-residency in Estonia? have you noticed for people who, there are about 6,000 people I understand who already take
From there are 6,000 companies from all over the world.
Yes.
We have e-residents from 157 countries actually.
Correct. So because it is very restrictive in their countries, the regulation is very restrictive, the complex policies for trade, and that is, do you think, one of the reason why people should actually take an e-residency in Estonia?
You know, Estonia is part of European Union.
Correct.
So more or less we have this horizontal legislation in Europe now. So all the basic rules and regulations apply
so
to
it's
all.
100% the same?
There are variances, of course, and this is what explains why maybe in some European countries some processes take longer time than in Estonia, for example. But Estonia is quite often called as Singapore of the North.
Right.
So it is both how business processes are managed. It's also how they are built up. So we have always been very small country with very lean government and we have very simple taxation legislation also in Estonia. Basically, there is no corporate income tax until you reinvest your money in the company.
Right.
So we only levy taxes on dividends when you have nothing better to do with your money than take it out of the company.
Okay.
So as long as you keep your money in the company, you don't pay corporate income tax. So this is another reason why maybe so many have decided that, oh, let's take advantage of Estonia because I mean the underlying objective of the business is to grow wealth, right? And you grow means getting bigger, and you get bigger when you invest and reinvest. So this is what the Estonian taxation system has made very easy for companies, and particularly that might be one of the reasons why e-residency has become so popular. But I think I hope I still represent the younger generation, so I think they enjoy the beauty of running
For
their
them too. I mean, you know, the regulations can be extremely. I mean, in India we've had so many changes in e-commerce, and some policies are extremely sort of restrictive and stifling the startup environment instead of actually encouraging it. So a lot of companies would want to register their offices out of India just because they don't. So if somebody has to attract a big angel money, for example, they would rather be in Singapore registered than India registered. So
we work very hard here in India together with Enterprise Estonia, Ankit Bell, my colleague, to really explain it to local entrepreneurs that yes, Singapore is. I'm also accredited to Singapore, so I visit Singapore quite often. It's a beautiful place to do business. But if you really want to do business in European Union, I mean, Estonia is a very viable alternative for you, actually. And you know, younger people, I think they enjoy the benefit of running their business from wherever life takes them.
correct. So we're living in a gig economy, right?
Yeah, they are not stuck in their offices. They like if they are like software engineer, some sort of freelancer, they can fly to Andaman Islands and run their business from there. So it gives you certain benefits, both economic and sort of kind of soft benefits, which come to enjoying the freedom of moving around the world, freedom of running your business operations. It's and as for Estonia, being of course, when we talk about our market, we always talk about 500 million, which is the market of European Union.
Okay.
Because once your company is established in Estonia, it's automatically also established in European Union.
Right.
And in Europe, as you know, we have free movement of labor, goods and capital.
Right.
So a lot of people use Estonia to use it as like a bridgehead to reach to all other European markets with the products. And of course, most popular seems to be e-residency amongst people that do something in digital arena, because they are already knowledgeable about
how to use
it,
yeah.
and they are ready to take advantage of this beautiful opportunity.
So within the 6,000 that are actually there today, which part of the world are the maximum residents coming from?
It is, I think, the latest statistics says that we have the biggest number of e-residents, surprise, surprise, from Finland, our neighbor in Europe.
Right. Why
And
do you
then-
think that is so?
I think it is because our economies are very integrated. A lot of Finnish people live in Estonia nowadays. So with this e-residency, they can automatically do their everyday business in Estonia. Well, I mean, let's be honest, I think Estonian tax regime is much better than in Finland. I mean, if they run their companies, they bring the companies to Estonia to take advantage of all the tax regime. Yes.
regimes.
And also Russia and Ukraine are very high
In numbers.
in numbers, yes.
So even you think the Russian tax system is more rigid than your tax system?
I think maybe when we talk about Russian business people, it comes more to freedom of economic activity and really escaping maybe bureaucracy and maybe corruption, if you wish.
But, I mean, can one expect that if one has taken an e-residency at some point of time they want to even set up office over there, because obviously their business is registered there, would there be an ease that Estonian government would give to them? Or, or let me put it another way, I mean, are you at the same time expecting people to open offices and not just do digital businesses but actually create employment, hire people? Is that something also that you have as an objective with e-residency at some future point of time?
Of course, I think e-residency is just like a door opener for a business person to get their company established, to start the operations. And of course the long-time goal is to really let these businesses to grow. When they grow in Estonia, it means that they need more people to do the job, either local or they can also bring in some from India, for example, if they wish, and they qualify, they correspond to certain standards in terms of education and backgrounds. So we really hope that we already have these 6,000 companies. And then when you put this taxation regime on top of it, where you don't tax companies until they start paying dividends, it creates a really good environment for developing the business. So of course we hope that these small companies that are started just all over internet will grow bigger and become like major economic players in the country.
Sure.
And I personally, like, part of my job is to attract Indian investments to Estonia, and it is not very easy task. But what I personally see is that this crowd, 276 plus companies, this will become the major economic driver for our bilateral economic relations in the future.
Sure.
And if you also add our very favorable startup visa policy and also fantastic opportunities to come and study in Estonia, technology, cybersecurity, all these modern and very demanded skills, I think it creates like fascinating environment to really see the future growth, of course, in Estonia and also in our bilateral relationship. So I'm very optimistic.
We should actually look at skill development because Indian government today is very working really hard in terms of skilling people in technology because that's where the future jobs are. So they want to tie up with companies, get courses, programs from outside, make sure that they tie up with Indian universities. So because most of our earlier programs, educational programs, don't give people very good jobs. So in order to get better jobs, they actually need to be more technologically enabled, empowered. We need a lot more data analysts. We need a lot more business transformers, people who can read that data and put it into business. So that all is something that the government is very heavily going to invest in.
Absolutely, and we are, as we speak, we are also develop what we call under the umbrella of Study in Estonia program, which is to really promote Estonia as a place for degree studies. We are currently discussing with one of the universities here to establish a cybersecurity lab. Knowledge taken, experience taken from Estonian university, TalTech, and to use this experience here. And also, we are in a very initial stage, but we are also talking about building special courses for Indian government, public servants to come to Estonia to study actually like hands-on how we have developed e-governance system in Estonia, cybersecurity, blockchain. I think this is going to be a beautiful opportunity for the future.
Absolutely, and not just the government, I think even non-government, students people actually, there's a lot of now focus being given on lifelong learning in India, which means that you actually do a job for a few years and then go back and study again. Because there's so much new technology, so many new things happening. So you go back 1 year back to the university, then you again get a better job because you're more skilled. So there's a lot of that now which is happening. So you see our new startups like Upgrad and Unacademy, they do a lot of that skill development further or enhancement of skills, I would say, for people.
Absolutely, and of course one might question why Estonia, e-Residency or e-governance or blockchain, or what is wrong with Estonia? Why Estonia? But I think the biggest factor has been our very strong education system and really strong focus on technology skills.
So do you do it from the school education itself empowers, or do you think it's more in the college or higher learning level where your education system is very...
It's both, and actually the success story in digital arena of Estonian success story started already early 90s when Soviet Union collapsed and we started building up our country. And it happened at the time when first personal computers became available on reasonable prices, and internet appeared.
Yes.
So we were lucky to have political leaders at the time who saw this technology as the major driver for the next years to come. And we started with the Tiger Leap program, which was to computerize all the schools, to connect them with broadband internet, and this was already more than 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And now we see like this first generation of these children. They are becoming now major IT entrepreneurs and engineers.
Right.
So education and skill development, of course, I mean, you can take a short-term course and then upgrade your skills and you become better.
Yeah.